Alright, so we're going to check out this video from American Redact titled Shane Gillis Has a Tony Hinchcliffe Problem. Because, you know, we love Tony Hinchcliffe over here and we can't stop talking about him. But the truth is, everybody's talking about this goddamn Kevin Hart roast. And unlike the Tom Brady roast, people actually watched it. People that were fans of comedy actually watched this roast. Why? Shane Gillis was the host. Kevin Hart was the roastee. Okay? Big J was there. There's some great comedians there. You know, Usher introduced the is fucking crazy, dude. I don't watch roasts at all. I stopped watching back when like fucking Justin Bieber and Alec Baldwin were the subjects, okay? It was lame then, and it's still lame. Roast battle's lame. The whole art form of roasting is lame, okay? But I went ahead and I watched it because I knew everybody was going to, and I wanted to form my own opinion. And the first thing I'll say before we even get into this video is it wasn't bad, dude. They did go hard. They were aggressive. They were fucking mean. And I like that. Now, can I sit here and say that there was anything that was perfect? Anybody had great jokes that I can remember or recall? No. What I will say is Pete Davidson, Tony, Shane Gillis, Big J, they all did great. They all had very funny jokes. And they had their own specific style to this format. Now, what does this mean? What's the Tony Hinchcliffe problem that Shane Gillis has? We're going to find out together.
Tony and Shane, this must be so exciting for you guys. Usually on Sunday nights, you just burn a cross on someone's lawn. And tonight you get to roast a whole black guy.
Alright, so it looks like Shane Gillis is finally starting to see why moving to Austin and associating himself with the likes of Tony Hinchcliffe and Joe Rogan was...
Okay, so I already get it. I get it. They're basically just saying that Tony, much like Rogan, is just racist, okay? And by affiliating with Tony, you're making yourself look like a racist. That's my first thought here. Let's see what else we got.
Was quite possibly the worst decision he could have ever made for his career. Because during the roast of Kevin Hart last Sunday, Shane Gillis was constantly getting lumped in with Tony Hinchcliffe and the entire Austin comedy scene as a whole, as he and Tony Hinchcliffe were primarily roasted for being the duo of racist white guys who helped Trump get elected. Which is pretty funny because it seems like Shane probably leans a bit left from center. But being that he willingly tied himself to this Austin comedy tribe, he's now being treated exactly like Tony.
Alright, and I fully understand that. I get it. And it is kind of deserved. But it is kind of lazy roast writing. If your first thing is to be like, well, let's just talk about the fact that all these douchebags went to fucking Austin. And they're gay for it, right? I mean, it's no different than all of the jokes about Tony being gay. Like, you guys, it's the lowest hanging fruit possible. And all of you have a joke about it? That's fucking lazy.
Tony Hinchcliffe, which is completely devastating for his image, but at the same time, it's kind of what he signed up for by moving there.
I love the fact that you white boy comics want to say all the words that black comics get canceled for saying. Now, I know it's some in that motherfucking teleprompter, but I'm glad that Shane, your motherfucking ass stopped that wigger. Because had you said anything that sounds bigger, trigger, you wouldn't have made it out of motherfucking Inglewood alive.
I also don't believe that that would have happened. I highly doubt it. Okay? Be realistic.
Tony and Shane both live in Texas where abortion is illegal. But on the upside, if you see one of them doing comedy, there's a pretty good chance your uterus will start dry heaving on its own.
And that does feel true. Because they are both very weird looking dudes. Shane Gillis is a strange fucking looking dude. But at least he makes up for it by actually being funny. Whereas Tony Hinchcliffe thinks he's like a hot guy.
And so, if you guys happen to watch the entire roast, then you know that even though it was labeled as the roast of Kevin Hart, this was really actually the roast of Tony Hinchcliffe.
Well, let's remember, it wasn't just the roast of Kevin Hart. It was called a goat roast. I don't know why. I don't know in what category he is a goat in, but I don't even consider Dave Chappelle a comedy goat. The fuck out of here. Like, at this point, I mean, as many of these, if you watch the roast, a lot of comedians trash Dave Chappelle's most recent special. Okay? Because they too are realizing this guy has fallen the fuck off. There wasn't a joke in there even a little.
Hinchcliffe, because it seemed like
Goat.
the sharpest, most brutal jokes were saved for the hungry wolf himself.
I mean, I don't know what he's saying by calling them sharp jokes when they were all just calling him gay. That's it. There were better jokes against Cheryl and Pete Davidson and fucking Draymond Green than Tony. Everybody's jokes against Tony was he's gay. And I don't like the guy, and he probably is gay. But if that's the only thing you can say about him, ridiculous. It's just lazy.
And at most times, he seemed like he just didn't agree with them or was entirely offended by them. Because, in all honesty, they were all super accurate, as they were mostly about Tony sucking up to Joe Rogan and how he'd do anything to get Trump.
Now, I will say I did notice that. I noticed that every time somebody talked about Tony's relationship with Joe Rogan, he would make a particular face like, those ones actually sting. Because he realizes that he didn't get where he got because of his talent or his comedy skills. It's just coat riding. You know what I mean? Dick riding of fucking Joe Rogan. That's it. You got lucky, just like Joe Rogan got lucky.
Trump elected for a third term.
I'm going to be raw. And when I say raw,
Again,
I really
gay
mean
joke
raw.
coming.
Raw like Tony Hinchcliffe's asshole when Joe Rogan finishes. We're going to go raw.
Me and Tony actually have something in common. I played James Madison's crystal flute, and he played Donald Trump's skin flute.
See? They're all just gay jokes. Every single one of them is just a gay joke. And you're going to say that's sharp or witty or clever? It isn't. Every open mic comedian that does a minute on Kill Tony calls Tony Hinchcliffe gay. This isn't clever or new, bro. I mean, one of the first things I ever wrote or said about Tony was that he looks like he's been dead for 3 years. He looks like a fucking corpse. Even that alone is more clever than calling him gay. Come on, guys. And you're the professionals.
Tony, quick question. If you're here tonight, who's keeping Joe Rogan's balls warm in their mouth?
Oh, another gay joke. Again, it's not clever, witty, none of that shit. I don't know who helped them write these jokes, but they were all on the same page. They were all not talking to each other like, hey, are you going to have a joke about Tony being gay? Because I have 6 of them. Like, come on, dude. It's fucking lazy. That's why this shit sucks. That's why people don't watch it. Because you'll go from Whitney Cummings hosting a roast of a Bert Kreischer and then having nobody on the dais that actually even knows who the fuck Bert Kreischer is. Okay, that's how they were back in the day. Even, the Alec Baldwin shit that I referenced earlier, you would have comedians on there that had no association with these people whatsoever. But then they'll constantly say, we roast the ones we love. No, you do that sometimes, but 97% of the time, it is just random fucking people roasting a guy, where jokes are written by other random people. Those aren't your friends. Nobody fucking knows each other up there. I mean, if you look at the people sitting behind Kevin Hart and Shane Gillis and them up there, that's Kevin's real friends. Not any of these actual people, but it shows you how, I don't know, I guess I would say Hollywood Kevin Hart is. Like, he's a dick when it comes to Hollywood shit. He's really I think I'm better than everybody type of character. And you can fucking tell. You can tell by the way he tries to push his life, code onto everybody. Anybody who does that, they think they're better than you. Because that's them telling you they think they got it figured the fuck out. You don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't have 2 families. Okay? That in itself should have been a roast joke from somebody. But it wasn't. It was just like, he's short and black. Remember?
So honestly, I think the biggest takeaway from the roast last Sunday was that not only is Tony hated by the majority of comedy fans and even his own audience, but he's also deeply hated by his peers in the comedy world. Like, all these comedians truly hate Tony with a burning passion. And even though...
Yeah, as they should. As they should. The mainstream comedy people, such as a Zach Galifianakis who just did it recently, they don't respect these dudes because they all took shortcuts. Every single one of them that got popular in podcasting can't actually do good sets on stage. Okay? Period. Look it up, dude. Theo Von's special is getting pushed back because the man can't do a fucking hour without having a mental breakdown. Hey, dude, back to MTV. You know what I mean? Back to MTV with you. And it's a shame because there's real good comedians out there that aren't getting the same level of interaction or love or fandom that some of these absolute fucking hacks are getting. And that's why the mainstream, and I have more respect for Pete Davidson in that aspect because he's part of that group, and there are select cliques within comedy that are a good representation of comedy. But it isn't anybody on the Rogan side. It's not. It's not Andrew Schultz. It's not Theo. It's not fucking Joe Rogan, Tony Hinchcliffe. It's not those guys, Burt Kreischer, Mark Norman. I mean, what are we doing, guys?
Even though their jokes about Tony were written by a team of writers, when they said these jokes out loud, they just seemed to be way more enthusiastic about it than the other ones.
Kill Tony. Please, someone can kill Tony.
There he
Everybody
is.
thinks Tony's gay, too. Stop it. Stop the gay stuff with Tony. Tony's not gay. Tony is not gay. Tony just likes sucking dick.
Again, just not clever gay jokes. Just that's all it was, man. He'll criticize them and then also say that they were sharp jokes, but yet it's all the same gay shit. Doesn't make sense, dude. That's kind of the opposite, right? But everybody has their own opinion. I said it was a good roast. Everybody did great. It was fun to watch. I watched the whole thing. But there were jokes like that where every joke against Tony was that he was gay. Every one against Draymond is that he's super black. He's angry on the court. It's the most obvious shit. And that always just feels lazy to me as far as roasting. It's like, yes, those are the obvious things. That's the fucking thing that everybody sees. Make it clever or witty. Do the thing that makes you a professional comedian. And you just don't see it. What is being a professional comedian, being able to read a teleprompter full of jokes written by a group of 12 people? How does that mean you're funny? I just don't get that. But, you know, you put Shane Gillis on shit, people are going to watch it. And again, Kevin Hart, he's an entertaining dude as well. I find him fun. But will I watch many more roasts? Probably not. Maybe a one and done for a lot of people. Maybe their first time, and they're like, oh, no wonder this shit doesn't do very well. But go check out American Redact. Watch the rest of this video yourself. Form your own opinion. Hit the like and subscribe everywhere, and we'll see you.